Welcome to another episode of last week's Comics Today. There are a couple of final issues in here, but we're going to start with a first. So, fuck this place. Number one, this should be... I'm probably making Dan's job worse because he makes the thumbnails for these videos, and I'm putting a big fuck right in the thumbnail. So this is by Kyle Starks, written by. I don't know the artist. Colorist is well known, and the one comment I want to make about the color is the unfortunate choice here, because this looks like a toy gun. It looks like a gun that has an orange cap on the end to denote that it's a toy, and that is my one comment that I wish were changed about the coloring. Otherwise, this book is good. I say that because I similarly wasn't enthralled by the first issue of The Six Sidekicks of Trigger Keaton. Wasn't super impressed by the first issue of it, but I grew to love it. There is a humor once the story starts rolling. This issue in particular has a lot of sort of character establishing. It's establishment in a lot of ways, but characters for sure, location. So these are our two leads. They inherit this house from her great aunt, I believe, and they wind up going to the place. And a lot of this issue, as I said, is sort of establishing who they are, why they're there. They talk about meeting because of a flat tire. One of them is a sort of doomsday prepper. She likes guns. The other one doesn't like guns. I'm sure both of those facts are going to come up again later. And then we get to the spooky stuff, which is... starts here. So this is a combination... he talks about this a bit in the back as well, but it's a genre mashup, and I do recommend reading this as well. But it's a genre mashup that at its core is sort of a horror story. There are ghosts, there's a creepy thing in the woods, there appear to be zombies, and aliens. That's the one I almost forgot. Aliens. So it's there's a lot going on here. I think issue 2 and beyond will be better, possibly also funnier. This doesn't yet have the traditional Kyle Starks humor, but I'm going to sign up for the whole thing. I hope you do as well. And I guess we'll see. We will see how things go. Kaiju Score, issue 2. This is... I just want to talk about how much I love this guy's art. So here's the first page. I mean, the design going on here, I think, is brilliant, but just flipping to the center, and once again, I love this guy's art. Look at that eye. Holy cow. So this is still minimal on Kaiju. However, they explain the plan in this issue, and the heist is going to take place, unless the plan changes, inside of a kaiju, because the timeline of the plan has changed near the end of this issue. But and it just made me think of, what if there was a spin-off movie of Pacific Rim that just focused on Ron Perlman's character? That's sort of what I think is going on here. Not literally, but just the criminal aspect of living in a kaiju world. It's really quite fascinating, I think, but also extremely entertaining and just good. It's a really good crime story that just happens to take place in a kaiju universe. And the kaiju are pretty minimal, even though it's in the title. I absolutely recommend this. I'm having so much fun reading it. And I hope you do too. World's Finest, issue 3. I mentioned in my video for issue 2 that I didn't notice the title of the series, Devil Ned's Ha, in issue 1, and I noticed it in issue 2. Nezha makes his presence felt in issue 2, and far more so here in issue 3. As far as manipulation of other characters, we get this. It's still a fun book of guest appearances, really. I think Mark Waid is writing as many characters into this story as he can to give, I don't know if it's necessarily an excuse to give Denmore the ability to draw those or not, but I will take it because it is. So we start off with this scene in Hell, which already, sure, great. We get a nice Superman scene. Doom Patrol is still involved, and I'll take Doom Patrol every chance I can get. I kind of expected the Doom Patrol to be a guest star, and primarily in issue 2, but they showed up at the end of issue 1, and they're still here in issue 3, so I will take it. It's great seeing them, especially drawn by Mora. We still have parallel storylines, so Supergirl and Robin are separate from Batman and Superman. They are currently in the past, and she's being taken out by magic at the time. Here we have Nezha making an appearance outside of the cover. This flying, so we previously saw Supergirl carrying Robin in a similar manner, and I didn't understand, I don't think I commented on it, I don't understand how she was holding him, and I similarly don't understand how Superman is holding Bruce there, because I would expect maybe hands under the armpits, or if he's... It doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't make any sense, but I will let it go. I do like how, at the end of it, when they decide to split up, Superman just drops Batman, and look how high they are at the time. It's ridiculous, but whatever. I'm just going with it. It's fine. But we do get continuation of just everyone making an appearance. You've got Mirror Master. You've got Faust was in the beginning, and near the end here we've got Green Lantern. I wasn't the hugest fan, especially of the writing of issue 1, but I am still enjoying this. Primarily, still the art, but the story's getting better, so that's good. Up next, we have the first issue of the new Shaolin Cowboy series. This is issue 1 of 7, and covers tend to be better than the interior art. You know, sometimes you get a different artist to do the cover, entice people to pick it up, and then sort of a bait and switch situation where you have a different artist doing the interior art. And I say all of this so that I can flip to the first page and show you exactly what's going on. And this is that first page. Look at the absolutely insane level of detail here. I mean, if anything, the cover is calmer than the rest of the book, because you've got empty space up in here. Jeff Darrow is insane. We also have a bunch of lizards down here, if you didn't notice those the first time I flipped. The main character, I would argue, the narrator for at least this issue, possibly the series, is a lizard. It's insanity. But we do get Shaolin Cowboy. He shows up in the city. He is wounded here. Hopefully we figure something about that out, because most of this is a flashback to the first time that lizard that is narrating met the Shaolin Cowboy. So we have him fighting a lizard, just like on the cover. We have him being attacked by a dinosaur. There is also this reanimated skeleton driving a car that is chasing him, and that's how the issue ends. If you have not read Shaolin Cowboy, I absolutely recommend it. I would like to do a video on the first series of this as well. So many Saturday videos that I want to get to, but Shaolin Cowboy is Jeff Darrow at his just most unleashed, and look at this. Who does this? Good God. Insanity, and I loved every second of it. Bolero issue 5, this is the end of the miniseries. The collection for this, I believe, is coming out in July, so it was in last month's previews. I waited just to get the final issue before I was making the decision whether or not to get the trade, and I will be getting the trade for this, because it wraps, it's so good. The series has been great. I just was tentatively waiting to see how it was going to end before pre-ordering the collection, and now I need it, because this is just such an amazing read. It's beautiful. It's incredibly well written. There is a repeated phrase at the end of this that it is not about the multiverse. So the writer explains about some of what went into the creation of this. He says it was never about the multiverse. But Devin, I want to show this off as well. So there's something else I want to show off. It actually, the book starts with a flashback, but when we get back to the basically present, it starts like this. So she had been hopping from universe to universe, and then she stayed in one of them for 20 years. Some of the rules that were set out in the beginning about jumping between universes and the use of keys get broken here. I am sure there are rules similarly established in this that I'm sure will be broken by the end of the series. But yeah, if you lay out rules, especially in the beginning, those will be broken. And they are broken here. There are consequences for things that she has done. There is an incredible resolution to the story. The closest thing I can compare this to is BoJack Horseman, in the sense that BoJack is an incredibly funny and deeply serious show at the same time. And there are hard truths in that. Everyone that I know has seen it, recognizes themselves in multiple characters, right? Everything sort of rings true. There's an element of their own lives in the show, and it makes them, all of us, re-examine, our own lives. And I feel like that's also true here, because Devin's story isn't unique to her. There's a fanciful twist put on it involving the multiverse, switching from one to the next. But really, she's trying to escape herself. She's trying to feel something. She's trying to feel like she has a place, that, regret is certainly a factor. There's... I don't have long enough to describe everything that's happening here. I'm just going to recommend that you pick it up. The art is incredible. The story is phenomenal. Just look at this, for instance. Hopefully I'm not causing more work for Dan by having a bunch of naked women. But, yeah, just read it. The collection is coming shortly. Grab that. Shadow War Zone. I feel like it probably should have been Shadow War Warzone, but that's their choice. I've been following Shadow War. This is a one-shot about some side stories that are going on elsewhere outside of the main storyline, and it is also easily skippable. If you haven't already bought this, then you can skip it. There are 4 stories in here. One of them is... it's essentially set up for future stories. So there is a Black Canary story, there's a Harley, she's not on the cover, there's a Talia sort of flashback story, and a story with Ghostmaker and Clown Hunter. I think this is the most easily skippable. This, I think, Black Canary's story will have follow-up, at least, based on how her story ends in the main Shadow War story. But each story has its own creative team. So you've got 4 different writers and artists, and here's an example of this. I do think, so there's a Stephanie Phillips story in here, and I mentioned regarding her Grimm #1 that I didn't know if I had previously read, so she wrote the Harley Quinn story. I wasn't sure if I had read any Stephanie Phillips previously. I still need to double check this, but if she was writing the Harley Quinn series, then I grabbed the first couple of issues of that, mostly for Riley Rossmo's art. I wasn't that into the story, and I am still not into her writing, really. As soon as Rossmo was off the art, he started to alternate him and somebody else, and as soon as this switched the first time, I dropped the book, stopped getting it. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this. It is easily skippable material. Lastly, surprisingly, is Black Hammer Reborn issue 1. What I ordinarily do is I get a stack of books You know, I opened my bag from the comic shop and I flipped through them, trying to figure out which one I'm going to read first. And I think this week I picked one. I don't remember which one, but I wound up picking one. I flipped through the stack again, saw Black Hammer, and I go, oh, this is the last issue. I got to read this one first. So I read this first, and it's already known that there is another series coming that will be the end of the Black Hammer universe, so things don't really conclude here. One storyline wraps up, maybe, but probably not. And then we get to this last page. I'm going to crop out everything else, but that. So that's how this ends, and we know already that that's coming in sometime in next year, so 2023. So that's at least 6 months away, which is unfortunate, but I will take the wait because I've loved Black Hammer from the beginning. It is a fantastic series, and this is no exception. I want to see, I'm going to flip through this just to see if there's anything of the art that I can show off that isn't a spoiler. Here we go. So there's two Black Hammers fighting. Black Hammer versus Black Hammer. Maybe I'll focus on this page, not the other one, but we have Black Hammer versus Black Hammer. So that is a sample of the art without any spoilers, hopefully. This has been a great read. I think, already dealing with the loss of Black Hammer, knowing that it's going to end. I think the grieving process has already started for me, and I'm certainly in denial. I'm trying to get to acceptance, but it's going to be tough. Black Hammer has been around not that long, but, you know, years, and the series overall, but each of the miniseries has been incredible, and I don't want it to end, and yet I know it's coming, so I don't know how I'm going to deal with that yet, but this is a great read. Trades of this, collections of this have been coming out steadily. Grab one of those if you have not. Yeah, that's all I have to say. You should be reading this. If you're not, if you are, then you know, clearly, how good it is. Usually I have a sense of what pick of the week is going to be before I start recording, and this time I don't. I think I do, but the decision is Bolero. Pick of the week, Bolero. It is so well done. Deeply personal. I think a lot of people will see elements of themselves in the main character, in decisions that she makes, desires that she has, and yes, just absolutely you should be reading this. Also watch BoJack Horseman if you have not watched that. I full-heartedly endorse both. That was everything that I picked up this week. I get all of my comics from a local comic shop. If you don't know where yours is, you can use this URL to find the one closest to you. Thanks for watching.